Hello and welcome for the recruitment to the post of officers in grade A RDBS, that is NABARD, National Bank for Agricultural and Rural Development. Students, this is the show exactly to let you know about the vacancies in grade A or for the officers of NABARD, that is National Bank for Agricultural and Rural Development. And we will be telling you about the most important features and the notification that is out in the air about NABARD. So let us try to understand what are the main features of this bank and what are the requirements for this particular bank. As in the first PPT, you can see here in the students that it says applications are invited from Indian citizens for the post of assistant manager in grade A in the Rural Development Banking Service, that is RDBS, in National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD. Candidates can also apply online on NABARD website, that is www.nabard.org, between 19th of June 2017 to 10th of July 2017. The most important thing that you have to keep in mind, students, that the date is 19th June, that is 19th June 2017 to 10th July 2017. Moving on to the next slide, we will let you know about the more information regarding the same. Let's see our next slide.
तो जैसा कि स्टूडेंट आप लोग देख रहे होंगे कि यहाँ पर इस नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में लिखा हुआ है कैंडिडेट आर रिक्वेस्टेड टू अप्लाई ऑनलाइन थ्रू बैंक्स वेबसाइट www.nabard.org. नो अदर मोड ऑफ सबमिशन ऑफ एप्लीकेशन विल बी एक्सेप्टेड बाय नाबार्ड. क्लियरली बताया गया है कि आपको ये एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म ऑनलाइन भरना है, यानी कि आपको ये फॉर्म ऑफलाइन नहीं मिलेगा. यहाँ पर देखिए नाबार्ड ने एक हेल्प फैसिलिटी भी रखी है. इन केस ऑफ एनी प्रॉब्लम इन फिलिंग अप द फॉर्म, पेमेंट ऑफ फी, इंटीमेशन चार्जेस or in downloading of admission letter, complaints may be made at candidate grievance lodging and redressal mechanism at http cgrs.ibps.in. Do not forget to mention NABARD officer in grade A RDBS DR in the subject of the mail. Let's move to our next slide.
Okay, students, you can see here the important dates and timeline for the regarding same NABARD recruitment, that is the online application registration and payment of online fee intimation from 19th of June to 10th of July 2017, and phase 1 of preliminary examination, that is online tentatively, on August 2017. So students, remember that this is the most important thing that you have to keep in mind. Moving on to the next slide, we'll let you know exactly what are the more details to remember about.
तो गाइज अगर हम बात करते हैं सबसे पहले नंबर ऑफ वैकेंसीज की, तो देखिए नंबर ऑफ वैकेंसीज में अगर हम बात करते हैं सबसे पहले रूरल डेवलपमेंट बैंकिंग सर्विस RDBS असिस्टेंट मैनेजर इन ग्रेड ए. यहाँ पर देखिए ए पॉइंट में कहा गया कि जनरल कैटेगरी में आपके पास जो पोस्ट है वो है 46. इसी तरह से आप देखिए B, C, D, E, F, G एंड H, यानी कि कंप्लीटली अगर आप देखते हैं तो टोटल RDBS में आपके पास जो वैकेंसीज है दैट इज 91 है. और आपको ये देखना है कि आप किस पर्टिकुलर फील्ड के लिए एलिजिबल हैं और आप उसके लिए अप्लाई कर सकते हैं. लेट्स मूव टू आवर नेक्स्ट स्लाइड.
The next slide shows you about the reservation of vacancies. Students, the discipline are given in the slide. You can see it very clearly, and the most important thing that you have to keep in mind regarding this is that what are the post or phases where how many number of vacancies are there. And all around, if you see, that unreserved category comprises around 47 vacancies, SC 14, ST 6, OBC 24, and on total it makes 91. So it's a very important thing. And one more important part is that for PWD, that is around 3 vacancies for general. So remember this thing, and moving on to the next slide, we'll let you know more information.
तो चलिए गाइस, अब हम बात करते हैं हमारे एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया के लिए. देखिए एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया के लिए क्लियरली यहाँ पे बताया गया है एजुकेशनल क्वालिफिकेशन जो आपकी कंप्लीट हो जानी चाहिए वो 1 जून 2017 तक कंप्लीट हो जानी चाहिए. इट मींस द कैंडिडेट कैन अप्लाई ओनली फॉर वन स्ट्रीम ऑफ हिज and her choice. In case of multiple application across or within disciplines, only the last application submitted will be considered valid and fee against all other applications will be forfeited. तो ध्यान रखिए गाइज, यहाँ पर नाबार्ड ने एक बात आपको यहाँ पे बता दी है कि कई बार ऐसा होता है कि कुछ स्टूडेंट एक बार फॉर्म भरने के बाद वो किसी और पोस्ट के लिए दोबारा आवेदन कर देते हैं. तो अगर आप मल्टीपल एप्लीकेशन भरते हैं तो यहाँ पर बोला गया है कि जो लास्ट एप्लीकेशन होगा वही आपका मान्य होगा, और इसके अलावा जो आपने पहले भरे होंगे फॉर्म वो सभी की सभी आपके रिजेक्ट हो जाएंगे. लेट्स मूव टू आवर नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट इंफॉर्मेशन.
This slide shows you about the Rural Development Banking Service RDBS Grade A Assistant Manager. That is the criteria of eligibility. Students for the general, as you all know that 50% marks with minimum requirement in any bachelor's degree is required, and for SC, ST, PWD applicants it's 45%. In aggregate, remember in aggregate, it's talking about in aggregate, or for PG, that is postgraduate degree with a minimum of 50% marks for SC, ST, PWD, it's 45% in aggregate, or in PhD. Or you must have or claim a chartered accountant, that is a degree again, and cost accountant or company secretary with a bachelor degree. Or if you have any kind of 2-year full-time PG diploma in management or full-time MBA degree from institutions recognized by GOI or under UGC, United Grant Commission, which bachelor with bachelor's degree in any discipline. Students, remember for the economics, bachelor's degree with economics with 50%, SC, ST, PWD applicants can have 45% in aggregate for postgraduate degree in economics. Agricultural economics with a minimum of 50% marks. SC, ST, PWD applicants, that is 45% in aggregate from a recognized university. Candidates with economics as one of the main subjects at all years, semesters of the courses will only be eligible. That is the most important part that you have to remember and keep in your mind. And soon moving on to the next slide, we'll let you know about more things.
The next slide shows that the position for agriculture. It means bachelor degree in agriculture from any recognized university with a minimum of 50% marks. SC, ST, PWD applicants 45% in aggregate. Or postgraduate degree in agriculture with a minimum of 50% marks, SC, ST and PWD applicants 45% in aggregate. इसी तरह से अगर हम बात करते हैं तो D and E यानी एग्रीकल्चरल, इंजीनियरिंग एंड प्लांटेशन एंड हॉर्टिकल्चर. तो गाइज आपको ये सभी इंफॉर्मेशन को ध्यान में रखते हुए एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म को फिलअप करना है ताकि किसी तरह की कोई गलती आप ना करें. लेट्स मूव टू आवर नेक्स्ट इंफॉर्मेशन.
Next information, again the slide shows you about the animal husbandry and fisheries and food processing. It means that what are the marks required. You can especially see here, you can take a snapshot from this particular slide so as to use in your for future requirement. Students, it's very important, so you must read it very carefully, go through it, that what are the requirement of the percentage marks for the general category for bachelor's degree or for SC, ST applicants, and for fisheries the same, and for food processing. Let's move on to the next slide.
अब आप देख रहे हैं नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में एक बार फिर से बताया गया है फॉरेस्ट्री एंड एनवायरमेंटल इंजीनियरिंग. देखिए फॉरेस्ट्री के लिए क्लियरली बताया गया है बैचलर डिग्री इन फॉरेस्ट्री फ्रॉम अ रिकॉग्नाइज्ड यूनिवर्सिटी और इंस्टीट्यूशन विद 50% मार्क्स इन एग्रीगेट, और पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट डिग्री इन फॉरेस्ट्री विद 50% मार्क्स इन एग्रीगेट. एज वेल एज जे के लिए कह सकते हैं जे पॉइंट इज एनवायरमेंटल इंजीनियरिंग, बैचलर डिग्री विद एनवायरमेंटल साइंस और एनवायरमेंटल इंजीनियरिंग एज अ सब्जेक्ट विद 50% मार्क्स इन एग्रीगेट, or postgraduate degree in environmental engineering or environmental science with 50% marks in aggregate from a recognized university or institution. तो guys आपको ये सभी चीजें ध्यान रखनी है. Let's move to our next information.
The next slide talks about the water resources development and management and social work. Again, the important thing about this slide is that it's showing you the minimum required percentage marks in your graduation and post-graduation. That is very much important for you guys. So go through it very carefully about the water resource development and management and also the social work. Both the things have been very clearly mentioned in the PPT in the slide. You can take a snapshot and go through it very carefully for the future use. Students, let's move on to the next slide. The next slide talks about the chartered accountant and company secretary. What are the requirements? The bachelor's degree in any discipline with membership of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, that is ICAI, and company secretary bachelor's degree again in any discipline with associate membership of Institute of Company Secretaries of India, that is ICSI. Again, a very important thing you have to notice. And let's move on to the next slide.
The next slide is some universities or institutes do not award class or percentage of marks and allot aggregate grade points. Example CGPA or GPA and CPI, etc. In case university or institute defines criteria for conversion of aggregate grade point into class and or percentage of marks, the same will be accepted. देखिए ये हमने ये स्लाइड इसलिए रखी है गाइज क्योंकि कुछ स्टूडेंट ये कहते हैं कि सर हमारी इंजीनियरिंग के अंदर हमें तो CGPA मिलता है, परसेंटेज नहीं होता है, तो हम उसे किस तरीके से डिफाइन करेंगे, तो इसीलिए हमने ये स्लाइड आपके साथ रखी है। यानी कि 6.75 अगर आपका CGPA होता है, इट मीन्स यू आर इन फर्स्ट डिवीजन एंड योर परसेंटेज मार्क्स इज एग्रीगेट 60%, और इसी तरह से आप रिमेनिंग को भी देख सकते हैं। लेट्स मूव टू आवर नेक्स्ट इंफॉर्मेशन।
The next slide talks about the age limit, that is as on 1/6/2017, that is 1st of June 2017. The candidate must be between 21 and 30 years of age as on 1st of June. That is, the candidate must have been born not earlier than 2nd of June 1987 and not later than 1st of June 1996. Remember, it's a very important thing to be noticed and to be kept in mind for your further information further regarding usage of filling the forms. Age limit is a very important criteria to be remembered. So let's move on to the next slide and let's know what we have.
The next slide shows that selection procedure. The selection will be in 3 phases as furnished below. अगर हम बात करते हैं सबसे पहले फेज 1, दैट इज प्रीलिमिनरी एग्जामिनेशन, इट मींस ऑनलाइन एग्जाम, ऑब्जेक्टिव टाइप MCQ यानी मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस कैरिंग 200 मार्क्स, ड्यूरेशन ऑफ टाइम इज 120 मिनट्स ऑफ ओवरऑल। अगर हम कहें कि यहाँ पर कौन कौन से सब्जेक्ट होंगे जिसके हमें प्रिपरेशन करनी है इफ़ वी आर अप्लाइंग फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर फॉर्म, तो वी कैन से टेस्ट ऑफ रीजनिंग, यानी कि सब्जेक्ट ऑफ रीजनिंग हमें यहाँ पे पढ़ना होगा, बिकॉज रीजनिंग जो यहाँ पे है वो 20 मार्क्स कैरी करेगा, इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज 40 मार्क्स, कंप्यूटर नॉलेज 20 मार्क्स, जनरल अवेयरनेस 20 मार्क्स, क्वांटिटेटिव एप्टीट्यूड 20 मार्क्स, economic and social issues with focus on rural India 40 marks, agriculture and rural development with focus on rural India 40 marks. It means we can say that कि अगर हम इस पोस्ट के लिए अप्लाई करते हैं तो हमें प्रिलिमिनरी एग्जाम के लिए 200 मार्क्स में से इन सभी सब्जेक्ट को पढ़ना होगा ताकि हम इस फेज 1 को क्लियर कर सकें। Let's move to our next slide.
Next slide talks about the phase 2, that is the main examination will be online and will be a mix of MCQs and descriptive pattern. Paper 1, that is general English, descriptive online through keyboard. The paper 1, that is the paper will have descriptive questions carrying 100 marks. Duration will be 1.5 hours. The analytical and drafting abilities of the candidate shall be assessed through his descriptive paper on the general English comprising essay writing, comprehension, report writing, paragraph writing and letter writing. Paper 2, that is MCQ, again mix the multiple choice questions for the post at A in the table 1 shows economic and social issues and agricultural rural development with focus on rural India. Obviously the post 2, that is second part, talks about B in table 1 paper on related discipline. Duration will be 1.5 hours of 100 marks. So let's move on to the next PPT and talk about that.
The phase 3 is interview. Applicants qualifying in the phase 2 examination and securing sufficiently high rank in merit shall be shortlisted for interview, and the interview part is squaring 25 marks. The preliminary examination is only qualifying in nature. Guys ध्यान रखिएगा, preliminary exam केवल आपका qualifying होगा and is meant to serve as a screening test. Candidates who qualify appearing at main exam shall be 1:25. It means we can say that हर 25 स्टूडेंट में से एक स्टूडेंट को मेन एग्जाम के लिए बुलाया जाएगा. For every wrong answer marked 1/4 of marks assigned to that question will be deducted as penalty in phase 1 and phase 2 both. Let's move to our next information.
Next slide talks about the syllabus. Students, it's a very illustrative syllabus and simple, and that too you have to understand very thoroughly. For the phase 2 main examination may be as furnished below. All posts from A to N in table 1, that's paper 1 English, essay, precise writing, comprehension and business office correspondence. The paper on English shall be framed in a manner to assess writing skills including expressions and understanding the topic. For general posts as at A in the table 1, the paper 2 economic and social issues and agricultural and rural development. So this will be the general part of syllabus first part, and from the next slide of the PPT we'll let you know more information.
The next part is application fee, that is non-refundable. Application fee for the post will be as under. Category of applicant for SC, ST, PWD. Application fee is nil and intimation charges will be 150 rupees. It means we can say the total is 150 rupees. For all others, application fee is 650 rupees, intimation charge is 150, and the total is 800. And for the staff of NABARD, application fee is at the rate nil, intimation charge is nil. It means we can say the total charge also nil. तो guys, आपको ध्यान रखना है जब आप फॉर्म फिल कर रहे हो तो ये ध्यान रखना है कि किस कैटेगरी में आप आ रहे हैं वो आपको पता होनी चाहिए. उसके बाद आपके ये चार्जेस होंगे जो कि हम आपको यहाँ पर बता रहे हैं. लेट्स मूव टू आवर नेक्स्ट इंफॉर्मेशन.
Next slide talks about the emoluments and service conditions. Students, as you all know, emoluments are regarding your salary, which will you draw and what salary exactly you will be drawing at the time of recruitment. That is your pay scale and perquisites. Students, as in the slide, it's clearly mentioned what the selected students will be getting the basic pay from 28,150 per month in a scale of whatever the basic requirements are. Along with that, the eligible candidate will also bear the kind of dearness allowances and local compensatory allowances. For the same, it will be included in that, which makes emoluments approximately to 55,587 perquisites according to the bank's accommodation subject to availability. That is the more important part. And also advances as occasional rates of interest for housing, car, education of children, consumer articles, personal computer, etc. So students, it's a very important thing to go through with. So you have to go through this particular slide very carefully so that you can understand what are the pay scale requirement and perquisites for the same. Let's move on to the next PPT.
The next PPT says that how to apply. देखिए, अगर हम बात करते हैं कि हमें अप्लाई कैसे करना है तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल गो थ्रू www.nabard.org. इफ यू आर अप्लाइंग दिस पर्टिकुलर पोस्ट तो आपको nabard.org जाना होगा, वहां पर आपको फॉर्म भरना होगा. नो अदर मीन्स और मोड ऑफ एप्लीकेशन विल बी एक्सेप्टेड. द एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म शुड बी फिल्ड इन इंग्लिश ओनली. तो ध्यान रखिए वे सभी स्टूडेंट जिन्हें अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम होती है फॉर्म भरने में तो वो अपने साथ किसी को लेकर जाएं ताकि वो उस फॉर्म को कंप्लीटली अच्छे तरीके से फिल कर सकें. तो दोस्तों, इस पूरे सेशन में हमने आपको बताया कि किस तरह से आप नाबार्ड असिस्टेंट मैनेजर ग्रेड ए के लिए अप्लाई करेंगे, क्या क्या रिक्वायरमेंट होगी जिनकी आपको जरूरत होगी, या क्या क्या चार्जेस होंगे, क्या क्या सिलेबस होंगे, हर चीज, हर एवरीथिंग हमने यहाँ इस शो में आपके लिए कवर किया है. तो इस शो में मैं सचिन मोदी रत्नेश शुक्ला के साथ साइनिंग ऑफ करता हूँ. थैंक यू सो मच.
Adda247 was built upon the promise of providing exemplary content and authentic videos on various competitive examinations, and we have succeeded to reach many who needed guidance and training. Extending our mission, we bring you unique video courses for banking and SSC exams. View, study and prepare anytime and anywhere. Now, government job in your pocket.